new. Let's create rectangular block which size is 1000 unit by 1000 unit and thickness 100 unit. So just pick the front. I prefer the front datum plane, extrude, rectangle. Let's give it a dimension 1000 because the pattern I want to create should have like a large or bigger area. So 1000 by 1000 rectangle block, check mark. Let's give the thickness of this extrude about 100 unit. Enter. If you start with millimeter, it will be millimeter. Inch will be inch. Check. Now that is my first extrude. Let's assign the hole using hole wizard, which will have 50 unit diameter and 100 from the left top corners. So hole, under placement, you select the surface, then you attach these two guys referring the top to edge. So I have here, let's fix, luckily I have 50, okay, the diameter is 50, that's what I'm looking for, but it is far from the edge by 100 by 100, enter, and check mark. So we're gonna play with this. We're gonna learn using these different types of or techniques of making a pattern using SolidWorks. Not SolidWorks, this is Creo. So that is a feature that I'm gonna make a pattern. And it is, when the feature is selected, you can see it's highlighted on the model tree. Under the model tree, it's highlighted. So hole number 1. And if it's not highlighted, then the editing feature won't be active. So the patterning, mirroring, trim, merge, all those will be off because there is no feature that's selected or the geometry is not selected. So let's pick that hole. Now the pattern is active. Under pattern, we have a pattern, geometry pattern, that is just for making a pattern of a geometry, like surface, some curved axis, line, etc. can be patterned using that. And pattern table, modify the pattern table and which drive the value of any number of dimensions. So first thing that we do is a pattern. So when we activate, invoke that pattern, we will see this tool, and the default and the first one to the left corner is the type of pattern. Now the first one is dimension, direction, axis, field, table. Reference is not active. Curves and point. So the first step is, let's use a dimension. So what I do is I'm going to select the dimension of a feature, and then based on that dimension you will define the direction of the pattern. Let's say if I pick this the vertical dimension for the location of the hole from the top surface, I can use that will be the vertical direction. And let's click that, and you can see under dimensions there is direction number 1, the hole wizard, and D8 is like the parameter attached to that dimension. So D8 is like increment 100. So we're gonna make in that direction that hole 100, 100. I have the diameter of the hole is 50, 100. It will be small. So let's make it 150. 150 increment. So you can see the second point is here. So that will define one direction of the dimension, the pattern. Let's give it the number of pattern, the number of feature in that is let's make that to be 4. I think we have enough space, right? We have enough space. That's 1000 by 1000. So that is 150, 150, 300. Oh, I think I can add more. 6. Can take care of 6 pattern in the vertical direction. And on check mark, you can see it's already, the pattern is made in one direction using the dimension. Dimension is the one defining the direction of the pattern. So let's go edit this feature again. Now I want to make that for direction number 1, I use the vertical dimension here, that first one. And for the other, I want to use this horizontal dimension for the location of the whole center. And so you have to define that under direction 2. Or you may click here to add item. If that is active, then click the dimension. You can see it's added under direction number 2, which is a dimension which is D9. Its parameter is D9. And the increment. The increment is, let's keep the same increment, 150. But how many of them in that direction? Like 2. Let's make that to be 4. So in the horizontal direction I have 4. In the vertical direction I have 6. So 6 by 4 pattern. So that is using the dimension pattern technique. You can create a pattern. One other thing I found from this technique, if you assign under this green box rectangle, if you click the 2 dimensions value there in the same direction 1, then really it will create a straight line, which will be in X and Y value. So let's delete our second dimension. So you can delete the second direction by just clicking there, or maybe item on the direction 2, right mouse hold, remove. I'm not assigning for direction number 2. But under direction number 1, that is active. If I want to add the other dimensions in that box, I will have to hold Control key and click. It will be added. It will be added in my direction number 1. So it is like an X and Y for one direction. So that means this point along the horizontal, it should be 100. Along the vertical, it should be 150. This is actually just linear. If I make the same increment, and I'm making at 45 angle. 45 angle. So you will create just the diagonal, maybe diagonal. Yeah, that's 10 by 10. Yeah, that's the diagonal. Along the diagonal line, you can create just using that pattern, but defining the 2 dimensions within one direction. And I want to delete now the pattern 1 of hole number 1. Right click. There is 2 delete option. Delete a pattern will just delete the pattern. The other delete will delete the features as well. The original feature, which the whole creation will be deleted. But so let's delete only the pattern. I need to have that whole wizard. I don't want to create again and again. I don't think I can. I want this guy. So let's turn off that. Okay. Now create again the pattern, activate the pattern, invoke the pattern. Now let's select next the direction. Direction wise, the first direction, translate. That means anything that I select as edge or axis will be along that axis when it's translate. And there's 3 options. rotate on that selected edge, it will gonna make rotation. Or the X, Y, Z coordinate, it will do along the X, Y, Z coordinate for direction number 1. So you can define the direction by specifying the second point. Our first point is already the location of that feature, but if I select the coordinate X, Y, Z, and I will be, I actually turn off that feature, only just make the coordinate system display. So that's my X, Y, Z. So it says select the item, the type of the what is this? This type is just coordinate system for the direction number 1, and select 1. Okay, that should be active. Now part coordinate system default. If you create your coordinate system, which is like user defined coordinate system, at some corner in some direction, you can refer that one as well. So you can see here the X value 1, the Y value 0, Z is 0. So where is 1? X1. It's very hard to see. I think we have the front. We created that one using the front plane. Not the bottom one. Come on, front. All right. So into the block, Y is vertical, X is that. So you can see the one gap, which is in the X direction just 1. You can increase. Oh, it's just. Oh, that is. I'm just moving to the Y direction for some reason, because I don't know. I have fixed it here. The X is 1, so it won't be. I can't change that one to be 10. So it will be moving to 10. That is point 2. That is point 2. Direction can be, the line can be defined by 2 points. So being the original location of the feature is 1 point, defining with X, Y, Z, you can locate the second point, so it will be along that line. How many features you want along this line? That's a little bit skewed. Okay, let's make it 4. And the distance, okay, let's make it the 9. Y. It's going different direction, so it looks like the Y and Z is a rotation somehow. I'm looking for this to be there. X is locked by 10 or 100. Okay. Yeah, that is weird. So check mark, you can see in that